Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not, and welcome back to what's it, Halloween Horror Month, Birth Month, 2026. And today we're looking at a movie I wanted to look at for quite a long time. Zathura colon a space adventure, but I'm just gonna call it Zathura because nobody ever called it Zathura colon a space adventure. It was just Zathura. A follow-up, but not a sequel to Jumanji. Why is it a follow-up but not a sequel? Well, because it's a follow-up in that it is based on a book by the same author as Jumanji, but director Jon Favreau, which is how you say his name, not Favreau, or Favreau, it's Favreau. Director Jon Favreau did not want to associate with Jumanji because he claims he did not like Jumanji. Oh, Iron Man 3 sucks. He didn't direct that one. Iron Man 2 sucks. But not as bad as Iron Man 3. So I know he didn't. The Jungle Book remake sucks. I've only seen a half hour of that. But whatever. The Lion King remake sucks. There. Please. So yes, Zathura. I actually went to the theater. I remember. I think was it a family movie? We went to see this. Zathura. You went to the theater to see it. I swear, in 2005. I remember sitting there. This is my first experience with Kristen Stewart. I know she was in that Catch That Kid movie. I didn't know who she was. And I'll admit that when I saw her, I thought she was cute. Keep in mind, I didn't know this, but she was 15 and I was 18. I didn't know that. Now I do, and it's kind of... I don't have anything for her anymore anyway. Twilight does that. By that point, we were both over the age of 18, but... She likes guys with poofy hairs, and as you can see. Well, actually, she doesn't like guys at all now. She's married to a woman. Good for her. So I was never her type to begin with. Though she did date the Twilight dude. I don't know. Anyway. I don't know. I just like her in this. She's also in another movie I like. I haven't seen in a long time. In the Land of Women. With Adam Brody and Meg Ryan. Kind of a chick flick. Kind of a drama. It's not bad. It's been years since I've seen it, but... It's a nice one. She was also in Panic Room. We gotta bring that up. But yes, she's in this. And also, my introduction to Josh Hutcherson, because I don't think he was in anything before this. He would be in the Journey to the Center of the Earth and its sequel after this, and then the Hunger Games movies. They were both in movies based on books. And then there's Jonah Bobo, who I don't remember being anything else but this. And of course, my close personal friend, Dax Shepard. If you don't get that joke, when I asked my close personal friend, I told a story in my Without the Paddle Revisited, where the Revisited Review, the 2000s Revisited episode on Without the Paddle, that I had a dream, and Dax Shepard was in it, and we were hanging out, we were buddies, at a bar, but he's an alcoholic, so he wouldn't been drinking anyway. But he owned the bar. It was really weird. And I knew he was an alcoholic and was sober, yet my dream had him working at, I don't know. So that's why it's a joke now on the channel, my close personal friend, Dax Shepard. And Tim Robbins is also here. And he's most famous for the role of the guy who wants to cut off, who lost his leg. And Tenacious D: Pick of Destiny. No, of course. Andy Dufresne on the Shawshank Redemption, which I have a review for. But, yes. So we start with one of the most infuriating half hours to start a movie I've ever witnessed. This is, even after this though, but this part is most infuriating. I can't believe that dad didn't just throw them both out the window. I know it's child abuse, but I was ready to throw them both out the window. And I'm not even there. I'm here. I want to jump to the TV and throw them both out the window. I wanted the Zorgon to burst through there and eat them right away because they were so annoying. I understand. You need these brothers to beat each other's throats. They be mad at each other, but it just doesn't. It's too much. It's too much. They come off as they hate each other, and you know that's not the case, but they just go off on each other. Like, we start with the older brother, Walter, which is not a name for a child, but Walter it is. Walter is playing catch with his dad, and now the dad says it's Danny's turn. That's Jonah Bobo's character. It's Danny's turn, and he goes to throw him the ball, and Walter just jumps in between, and the dad's like, okay, I'm done. And it's like, what? That is not fair. Right? Oh, wait, I don't know how much help this Wikipedia article is going to be. It is very basic at the beginning here, so. And during their arguments, they knock over, or Danny knocks over a glass of juice or something. If I had to deal with this, it's wine or some sort of alcohol. It knocks over, and I think he's an architect or something. So the dad has to go get a new print off. He doesn't have a printer there to print off. He's got to go all the way to his office to do it somewhere. Where that, he wakes up the sister, Kristen Stewart's character, whose name is Lisa no casa. And she's typical 2000s teenagers. I don't want to deal with my brothers right now. She's just going to sleep all day. Let me tell you something. That's not teenage girl behavior, sleeping all day. That's teenage boy behavior. Teenage girls she should be on the phone talking to her friend. For the purposes of this story, she has to be asleep. Because if she was on the phone, she would notice when the stuff happens. She can't notice when it happens right away. So, yeah. So, then I started to get pissed at this older brother because, like, the dad leaves. He wants Walter to make him macaroni and cheese. He says no. He's like, you make it. I don't know how. This kid's like 6. And then they go to watch TV, SpongeBob on. And I can't prove this is why, but I swear, he sees that Danny is laughing at this and immediately changed it to Sports Center. He's like, I want to SpongeBob. No. Like, this is how brothers act, but it's like, I swear, he only changed it because... By the way, what 4th grader is watching Sports Center? You couldn't find something else for him to watch? He said, I'm in a 4th grade and I have a girlfriend. Let me tell you something. 4th grade girlfriends aren't real girlfriends, dude. You don't get real girlfriends till like middle school, high school, okay? I think he's full of shit. We don't see this girlfriend through the entire movie. No. It doesn't even say it here, but there's a chase where it ends up with him putting Danny in the dumbwaiter and shoving him down in the basement, where he finds this game. And this is where I have my first problem with this film. Unlike Jumanji, there's no explanation for this game. From the very beginning of Jumanji, we get sort of an explanation. There's these 2 guys, there's this game, it makes noise, what if someone finds it? God have mercy on their soul. Then we get an explanation. Someone finds it. We see how the game works. In the past, that person gets stuck. And then when we get to the actual main plot later in the present timeline in 1995, then it works. We know, we've seen the demonstration of the rules there. We got it. Here, they just start. It's not even like brother even wants to play. He's got to force to play. You turn the key. You push the button. Thing rolls. Get a space. Moves. You get a card. Which is similar to Jumanji when he doesn't appear on a thing. And the only question I have is, after the cards, what do you do with them? I know that he keeps one of the cards, but the first card is a meteor shower. And that's when he goes, oh, it's real. And they're now in outer space. Lisa wakes up thinking that she overslept, so she prepares to go out. And when one of them pushes the thing, and it's not rolls, pushes the thing, she's put in a cryonic sleep, freezing her. And it's like, and I'm watching this time, and I go, why didn't you just stay asleep then? What's the point of her waking up if they're just gonna freeze her so she's still out of the film? She would have still been out of the film if she was just still asleep. I don't know. And I like how Walter tries to unfreeze her using like a spray can and a flame. But you also got to question, how did he learn that? This is the fourth grader. He said it earlier. Right? And by reading the instructions, which are a little less instruction-like than the Jumanji ones, we find out that they must play to the end to restore everything. So they do. And they end up getting too close to a star. There's a robot that he rolls, and I do like that Walter rolls. Give me a juice box, biatch. You are in the fourth grade. Give me a soda, biatch. Why a juice box? You're 12. Why would you need a juice box? Is that what fourth grade is? You start at 5 in kindergarten. At 6, 7, 8, 9. He's only 9? Bullshit. He wasn't no 9. 1, 2, 3, fourth grade. He's only 9? That's bullshit. Hold on a minute. You telling me Josh Hutcherson was 9? No, not Dax Shepard. Josh Hutcherson. Born 1992. He wasn't 9. 92. 10 is 2002. Right? So 3 years later, he was 13. He was 13. 9. Bleh. 9. He's supposed to be 9 in a fourth grade. They couldn't have said he was in the 6th, 7th grade, which would have been more appropriate. No? Okay. Whatever. When he gets this robot, and the robot is malfunctioned. He does get a card that says to where is it? A reprogram card. And it's obvious what it's supposed to do, but we don't need it till later. So they just sort of trap it in the basement. Yeah. And they also roll that they're attacked by a race of aliens known as the Zorgons, one of which is played by Derek Mears. And the robot is also voiced by Frank Oz. So, yeah. Danny takes a turn, and they rescue a stray astronaut, which is Dax Shepard, who is there to help them after eating a couple sandwiches. And again, the argument turns to, we're going to run out of food. He's eating all our food. He's like, you're eating all our food. And I'm just like, but you're, unlike Jumanji, at no point do they ever say they're going to stop playing the game. They always intend to finish the game. So, and they know once they finish the game, everything's going to go back to normal. So why are you worrying about, he's like, look at him. He's going to use up all our air. But you're going to keep playing the game, so you're going to get through this. So what's the point of worrying about that? So the astronaut, which he's only called the astronaut till the twist reveal, which is kind of obvious. It didn't get me back then, but watching it now, once he explains his story, I'm like, well, it is kind of obvious here. We'll look into it. So he turns off all the heat sources, and the Zorgons are attracted to heat. So they turn the thing everything down, turn off the pilot light, and then they set the couch on fire. Which, if they blew up the pilot light, then you light a match, it's going to explode, right? And that's what we were told in science class or something, I don't know. And they ejected from the house, which, as soon as they hit space, the fire would no longer exist because there's no oxygen in space. With no oxygen, fire cannot happen. So as soon as it went out into space, it would, and the Zargons would still attack, would still be around the house. So, I don't know, but this is a movie, so whatever. Yeah, Walter wants the astronaut to leave, but Danny wants to... And this is where the bullshit happens. I call bullshit. I was ready to... Because this is bullshit. So, at the beginning of the movie, Danny wants to play board games. Walter always says that he doesn't play board games with Danny because he cheats. When they go back to play the game after talking with the astronaut, Walter notices that Danny is cheated, though he doesn't admit to it, and then he says, well, I might have an accident. And I gotta agree with Walter here. He's like, see, it was an accident. How do you accidentally move a piece? Yeah. He's like, where were you? I was here. No, you weren't. You were back here. Moves it back to where it was. So then Walter takes his turn. He hits it. It won't stop spinning. Then he gets a card. And it says, caught cheating. Ejection. And it ejects Walter. Even though he's not the one that cheated. He moved the piece back. But Danny's the one that cheated. Why is Walter the one that's punished? It makes no sense. The astronaut uses this jetpack to rescue him. It's during this that Lisa wakes up from her cryonic sleep and realizes that it's cold and turns the heat back on. So you know where that's going. And starts to get ready for her date because she still doesn't fucking realize that something else is going on here. By the way, the house is broken into pieces. The heat wouldn't work, and technically you're in space. They wouldn't be able to breathe with pieces of it open like that. But whatever. After they get him back, then he apologized to Walter. Walter doesn't care. But it was Danny's turn next. And they go straight to Walter's turn. Walter gets a card. Danny runs off and Walter gets a card that grants him a wish. Immediately, the astronaut starts telling him not to make the wish he's thinking of. How you know what I'm thinking of? Believe me, I know. And you say mistake, you don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. And he thinks that he wished Danny out of existence. He's like, great. Now we can't finish the game. He's like, the wish worked. He's not holding a football. Yeah? Wish worked. Yeah? Well, now we can't finish the game. And because he thought that he wished his brother, he's like, what did you wish for? This. A football? It's signed by Brett Favre. Well, that's not worth anything. Throw it into space. Anyway, and this is what the astronaut explains that he once played the game. When he got the wish card, he wished his brother out of existence. Now, he says, I wish my brother had never been born. This becomes more complicated when you find out the twist. So when I reveal the twist, I will come back to that. But it doesn't make any sense. We'll just get to it. Which left him stranded in space. So, since the game cannot be completed without the second player. So Danny and Walter decide, hey, let's just finish this and be cool. Because Lisa turned up the heat, the Zargons have returned. Though no one realizes that Lisa is awake because they're like, what happened to it? Is it hot in here? Oh, like the heat. And none of them go, Lisa! Who else could have turned the heat on? and she becomes aware of what's going on due to he decides they have to distract them, so because they blow up the side of the living room where the game is. So they now need, and again, this is just to have filler now, because this movie used to go to an hour and a half. So they start a fire in the kitchen to excuse me. They start a fire in the kitchen to attract the Zargons, but she smells the fire, runs down, and uses the fire extinguisher, which again wouldn't work. Fire wouldn't work in space, let alone the fire extinguisher. There's no oxygen in space. But anyway, whatever. It's movie rules. Whatever. Yeah, she sees the astronaut and immediately has a crush on him, which becomes problematic later. But yeah, so now we're more filler as they try to figure out how to get the game back. So we're sitting in a closet whispering for about 20 minutes or so. They decide that one of them has to, so astronaut goes to try to get the game, but it's not in the basement. It's on the Zargon ship, so we can't get to it. But it's in the basement. The Zargon, he sees it in the basement, and it's crawling with Zargons. So they have to put the smallest person in the dumbwaiter to get it, and that is, I do like that, where they're like, we need someone small enough to fit in a dumbwaiter, and then his response is, do we really need the game? They put him down there, and he realizes it's just a box. Which, yeah, because it wasn't in the box. Why would you think? He boards the ship. He sees goats with 4 eyes. And then he gets it, but the Zorgons spot him. Walter uses the reprogram card to fix the robot. And it attacks the Zorgons, causing them to retreat. And so they take more turns, and Walter gets his wish card, another wish card, this time wishing for the astronaut's brother to be brought back. And here's where we get the twist. When the brother arrives, it's Danny, revealing that the astronaut wasn't, and according to this, because it's confusing, they don't really explain it. It's the older version of Walter from an alternate timeline. Because if we really alternate timeline, so because you're like, wait, if he didn't wish his brother away, then the astronaut should disappear. We haven't done a twist yet, so and yeah, the two Dannys kind of touch each other a little bit here. That sounds wrong. Kind of do the hand thing, and when they touch fingers, they melt, and then the astronaut thanks Walter, and he kind of fuses like that, and yeah. However, I have an issue. It shouldn't be able to grant his wish. Sorry, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I have to explain this. If he wished that his brother had never been born, which we now know is Danny, he's never been born, it would create a paradox, because you see, it was Danny who found the game and how they started playing in the first place. So, if he wished his brother never been born, that means Danny wouldn't be there to find the game, he wouldn't play the game, and it'd be all reset. But if it would be reset, then he wouldn't be there he wouldn't be playing the game to get the card to make the wish to begin with. See my point? He wouldn't be able to wish that. Cause and effect here. It wouldn't work. And yeah. The sister freaks out. He's like, wait, that was you? But I wanted to... And then they start blasting the thing. Eventually, Danny wins the game, revealing that Zathura is a black hole, which consumes the Zorgon's fleet and the house, and everything gets brought back to the way it was. And I do like how you don't know what's going on, and the multiple pops up. Don't press that button. And Dad comes back and tries to explain anything. He says, well, that's fun. Now your mom's going to be here, so children of divorce. The only thing that they do to explain the game is like, well, it's an old house, and he hasn't explored everything, so it's not their game. It's just what came with the house. But, yeah, the brothers are finally bonding again, and they promise each other and Lisa not to tell anyone about the game or what happened. And they just explain everything to the dad. But yeah, and there you go, Zathura. That's pretty good. It's not as good as Jumanji, but it's still good. I know a lot of people count it as part of the Jumanji franchise. I don't. Jon Favreau doesn't. I just feel like it's... Some people call it a ripoff, which is not fair, because it's literally by the same author. So, do your research before saying something, idiots. I'll give it a high middle of the road. Because it's fine. I have my issues with it, obviously. But it's a fun watch, I'm sure. Yeah. Or for sure. It's a fun watch for sure. So, yeah. So what are your thoughts on Zathura? Leave a comment below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.